What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on the oil cooler system for the Hellcat. Let's get to it. Clean boys. Well, not so clean until we open these things up, but check it out, you guys. CSF, man, these guys have been around for years, and their cooling technology is really something else. I mean, they really specialize in high performance off-road vehicles. I mean, just any performance vehicle you can think of. And they do a lot of imports and European cars, believe it or not. This is their universal brand, by the way. But we're gonna be running the oil cooler, power steering cooler, and obviously an auxiliary supercharged cooler. So that's what we got these. Now, I really did not like what we got from the factory. I mean, look at this stuff. This stuff is designed for like a 2016 Charger. Like, it's not designed for a 1968 Charger. Like, it doesn't make any sense for us to use those components, not to mention mounting them and figuring out how to route them and all that. And then we still gotta buy fittings and everything else. And those things are expensive. They're like $200-300 bucks also. So not to mention the price of those things. Now, these guys here are more universal. Let me open them up so I can show you guys, and just it's going to allow us and make our life a lot easier to figure out how to mount these. Lord, look at this disaster, y'all. Yep, I got a crazy shake going on here. But guys, I've been at it for probably about 2.5 days now, trying to figure out how to get this thing right. And this is probably second attempt as far as trying to figure out how to make a bracket that it's going to work for this car with these coolers. Now, I think I've finally come up with something. I think I got something for these two coolers here. You guys can see how I kind of have them jointed here. So I made this bracket here, and then so that way they would hold each other basically in place, you know, almost as one. And then came up with that. That's kind of what I come up with so far. And so this will kind of go like that, bolt up to the top there. And this will bolt up to the bumper, believe it or not. So these will actually be mounted to the bumper. This is kind of what I got going on, just like that. You see how I got this bracket here? Something like that. What do you guys think? And then all those coolers will mount just like that, one on each side like that, you know? And then it'll sit, in theory, it'll sit in that opening where the license plate holder used to be at. We removed the license plate holder. We removed those bump stop things, got rid of those, and then basically these coolers will take that spot, because we're not going to run that stuff anyways. But so I'm actually repurposing using the bumper bolts to hold this bracket in, but we're going to end up having to probably get some new ones, maybe even some longer ones, because these is going to be a little bit short. It'll hold for now, at least for this mock-up purposes. We'll get it all mocked in there, but that's kind of what I think is going to work best. And I think it'll look pretty decent too. We could always put a screen in the front of it too if we like later, but I think it'll look good either way. Let me mount this and let me show you guys what it'll look like. I'm also using these little rubber cushion slash little isolator kind of bushing just to help with the vibration when these are sitting here. So these are actually, this little rubber bumper will sit underneath the bracket just to help with movement and this thing bouncing around and stuff like that, so it's just not metal against metal. I have some on this one as well. This one has it also, but just a thought. Let me put this on so you guys see what it looks like. Clean boys. What y'all think though? I like it, y'all. I do like it. Like I said, I mean, man, that looks freaking so good. Looks like it belongs there. Looks like they're just floating too, you know? Not too bad. We'll end up painting these brackets up a little bit, you guys. Clean all this stuff up, and then this bumper is gonna get all repainted as well when it's done. But man, that looks so freaking good. I like it. Like I said, it took me a little bit to figure out how to get this set up to really work, to make it work, make it look like it belongs here. But that's gonna fit just like perfect right here in this area where that license plate used to go and everything else like that. It'll fall just right in. I'll probably put the bumper up here in a minute, but you guys can see I also try to make sure we had enough room for our lines here to make sure we can still ride our hoses accordingly. But that's gonna look so freaking good. We're gonna end up having to take all this stuff off again, you guys, just to paint these brackets up, clean them up and all that. But I do have the auxiliary cooler here, kind of just mocked in. You guys can see it's kind of just holding itself up with this guy here. It's kind of tight too, super tight. What I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna end up having to bring this in just a little bit here, because we got quite a bit of a gap here, about an inch. So I think if I'll suck this in a little bit, and then I'm gonna have to create some kind of bracket also coming off of this, and maybe just directly to the radiator support. I'll probably do that. Let's see if we can work on something with that, create some kind of bracket that's gonna allow this thing to bolt to the radiator support. I think I burned my sock. I'm pretty sure I burned my sock, you guys. But, oh Lord, it's hot, guys. But this is what I ended up with. It took a lot of trial and error, believe it or not. I don't even know if this is something I'm proud of, but I feel like it's gonna work. And I mean, it looks, I don't know. You tell me. I don't do this for a living, guys. I don't fabricate. You guys know me. I like wiring, bro. But this is what I came up with, y'all. And it'll bolt just like that to that guy there, to the cooler. And then the cooler will sit in front of here. And then we're actually going to utilize the bolts are already there. So I made that, and it'll land just like that. You guys can see what I'm talking about, just like that. It'll bolt just like that. I'm going to clean these up a little bit more and then give them a coat of paint and then see if it'll dry, and we can put this thing on so you guys can see what I'm talking about. See what it looks like. Maybe you guys will get a better visual once this thing is on. Clean, boys. Well, I wouldn't say too clean, but this is what I came up with, you guys. This is kind of what I came up with. Holding this cooler in. Not too shabby. It'll work. It looks good, man. I really like how this is going to come out. This is going to give us enough clearance up front here for that headlight bracket slash radiator support that comes across here, that comes off that whole headlight like bezel assembly. So I had to get it high enough. Earlier I had it flip 180, so it was sitting way too high. I didn't like where it was sitting. I had to come down, and now it's nice and even and flush with that condenser. But I'm really liking it, y'all. All we got to do now is really plumb everything. Now we got our hoses that are going to come off here to that aux pump, and we're going to end up coming back into here as well. I got the new cooler in as well, you guys. I didn't mention that the other day, but I got the new cooler. As you guys can see, this one's all brand new, no bends, no kinks, everything ready to go. But I'm liking it, y'all. And like I said, I did put a bunch of rubber bumpers in between all this stuff right here, just to make sure when the car is vibrating and going down the road, that's all getting absorbed, and trying to minimize the stress between all that stuff. So, but it's gonna work out. Oh yeah, look, I even painted this guy. Forgot to tell you guys about that. Painted our little bracket down here for a radiator. And I actually like how we mounted these, because now, before I had it set up where the radiator was getting held on with everything else, including the condenser, the cooler, everything. So it actually had to be bolted with the same bolts. I actually like it better this way. I decided to change it a little bit. That way we weren't relying on the radiator being installed or you can actually service the radiator if need be without having to pull everything else out. That was one other thing that was my biggest thing, is I didn't want you to have to pull all these 3 coolers, if you think about it, these 3 coolers just to service the radiator, or vice versa, have to pull the radiator out just to service the coolers. It really didn't make sense, right? So we mounted them separately, and I really like the way it came out. Like I said, all we gotta do is plumb it. All we gotta do is plumb it. But a big shout out to CSF, man. CSF, these things are working so freaking good for us. So if you ever guys need something like this, man, hit them up. CSF, like I said, they got a lot of universal things, a lot of universal products that you can use, especially for these Hellcats, man. I mean, look at that. That's gonna work perfectly. We also got the ones down at the bottom that we did earlier. Those are gonna look good. I'll put everything back on. Not in this video, but that way, once I get everything plumbed, I'll put everything back on so you guys can see kind of the finished product more or less. Guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for notifications. And you guys already know, stay wrenching.